Hello and welcome back to Arsenal Domination, where it is the morning after the night before, and it has been a good start to 2025 for Arsenal. A tricky game against Brentford, navigated 3 points on the board, um, and it's all Arsenal could do in response to the Liverpool victory. Was win and keep the pressure on, and that's what they have indeed done. Big pressure, as I say, coming into the game. Bukayo Saka out, uh, illness in the camp, other injuries around, and a Brentford side that have lost just once prior to last night at home in the league, score a lot of goals at home, um, and Arsenal having to make changes. It's never easy going to Brentford. Mikel Arteta was very brave, made 3 changes. Rice, Trossard, and Mild Lewis Skelly all dropping to the bench. In came Calafiori, uh, Calafiori came in, Moreno came in to start on the left eight with Thomas Partey in the right six, and Ethan Nwaneri getting his Premier League first ever Premier League start. He's of course started at other games for Arsenal. He's come off the bench a few times in the Premier League, but this was his first start, and he started on the right rather than probably in his favoured position of the number 10 role where Martin Odegaard played. Um, you know, and it was, as I say, a big call given what was at stake today from Arteta. And I found it really interesting looking at it beforehand. People complaining about the rotation coming into the game, which is odd because Arteta has done exactly what they were calling on him to do, and blaming him for the injury to Saka with some merit. I think it's not quite as simple as that, but there's some merit to it. And now complaining that he's moaning, I do find that slightly baffling. And I think the reality is that with 9 games or 8 more games this month, we are going to have to see a lot more rotation, not just in the Premier League, but in the cup competitions as well, because you can't play the same 11 9 times in 31 days. It's well, I mean, 32 days, and it's 10 games because I think Man City is the 1st of February. We're not going to be able to do that and sustain that. So we're going to have to get used to this. And it was encouraging to see in a tricky game away from home, Arsenal make the changes and come away with the 3 points. So the game itself, I mean, I've spoken all season about control, and I thought throughout the game Arsenal really showed that. But we've also spoken about the fact that Arsenal need to do something with that ball and that control. It's all very well controlling games, but you have to make something happen with it. And Arsenal haven't done that kind of enough this season, or not convincingly enough anyway. And if you don't do something with that ball and you've got the control, you will be punished at this level. And that is indeed what happened. Arsenal dominated the opening 10 minutes or so, complete possession in terms, complete control in terms of possession and in terms of territory. And then a mistake, we gave the ball away, and Mbermo, possibly having an audition maybe today in front of Mikel Arteta for a possible transfer, given he's got 18 months left on his deal, and he's the sort of player I think we should be looking at. And he turned a rusty-looking Calafiori, who came back in for his first start following injury, inside out. Calafiori didn't get close enough to him, and Mbermo with a clever finish to beat Raya at the near post. Used Calafiori's body to sort of unsight the keeper, and put a neat and tidy finish, to give Brentford the lead. A lead that came out of nowhere, but a goal we've seen them put together far too often. And while we knew we were going to get chances today because of the way Brentford play, I was concerned, and I think probably most Arsenal fans were concerned at that point. You're 1-0 down with very few attacking options on the bench due to Havertz again missing out today to add to the woes with his illness. But there was really only Trossard on the bench that you would be looking at as a sort of major attacking outlet, and you're thinking, well, what's going to happen? But Arsenal, to their immense credit, responded really well, and I think the game turned on its head in a sort of 60-second or so moment. David Ryan was at fault this time. He was out of position. He nearly gets lobbed essentially, but he makes a really good recovery to claw that ball away, palm it away, and seconds later we're down the other end. I think it was Gabriel, his through ball was not dealt with by the Brentford defence. Eventually Thomas Partey with the shot, which is saved by Flecken, who was obviously fit today, despite the rumours today that he wasn't going to be prior to the game. And Jesus reacted really well, and you can see that confidence coming back into him. He wouldn't have done that before those goals against Crystal Palace, and he reacted instinctively and incredibly quickly before anyone else could to turn the ball in And Arsenal level, probably deservedly so, but no more than that. But the second half, Arsenal, came out really, really quickly, and they got two quick goals. Again, Brentford failing to deal with the Arsenal sort of pressure ball in from one area, this time from a set piece. Again, they don't deal with it, and eventually it falls to Mikel Moreno, who turns it in from inside the penalty area. And just a few minutes later, Martinelli makes it three, his volley. And it was a really lovely finish. It's a half chance, nothing more. Again, Wanyeri involved. He was really bright today. And that was 3-1. And I think that was game. Brentford looked done at that point. And this is where the control that I think is really important for championship winning teams by and large. There are exceptions to teams that win the Premier League and other titles without the control, but they're few and far between than those where they are control. You look at all the best sides, they had that control. They had attacking flair too, by and large, but largely it's control. I look at the Chelsea side under Mourinho, sorry, the best Alex Ferguson sides, even the Arsene Wenger side. We played lovely football, but there was a steel to that defence and control of games. Manchester City, the obvious example of it. And I just, at 3-1, never felt Brentford were coming back into it. I felt we were in complete control, and we showed that, um, from that moment on to the final whistle, and got the deserved 3 points. I just really quickly want to talk about a couple of players, and it's really important that several players step up in Saka's absence, not just in the attack, but across the team. If we're honest, a lot of players haven't performed to the levels we would expect and need this season. For a variety of reasons, injuries haven't helped, mixed team selections haven't helped, but ultimately, these players know they can play better and they need to play better. And it's really important that they do play better. And I thought today a lot of them did that. Jesus and Martinelli got goals that will really, really help them. I thought Partey looked imperious in midfield at six. I like Rice at six best of all, but Partey is a really, really, really good number six in his own right. And just wonder whether, if in the coming weeks we might just see a tweak to the system where Arsenal, do they go with two sort of pivots and Odegaard slightly further forward in a sort of, rather than attacking right eight, more of a number 10, I don't know. But Partey very good today. William Saliba very good today. But the two I really want to touch on are Ethan Wanyeri and Mikel Moreno. Ethan Wanyeri, what can you say about him? He looks a real, real special talent. I think we'll see mixed performances from him over the course of the season because of his age, but you can just see he's got a really, really high ceiling. I think he mimics Saka to an extent. He's a left-footed player cutting in, and he was instrumental in the second and third goals. He showed a spark and a willingness to, attack players and take players on and find a man and take responsibility when he was on the ball. And Brentford defence, you could see, were really concerned about him. Will he start every week? I don't think so. I think, he's 17. Even if he wasn't 17, like I say, I don't think, many players can play all of these 9, 10 games in 31, 32 days. But he's looking impressive. I think we'll see Sterling when he comes back, or Martinelli, play out there. It may be Jesus in the coming weeks, unless we bring a player in. But he's shown he's an option, and he's shown he's a real, real talent. And I think he, like Miles Lewis-Skelly, is really showing and repaying the faith the manager has shown in them. And even though they're not registered in the squad because they don't have to be, I think they're showing why they are worthy of inclusion in the squad. And the Arsenal really do have a 24, 25 man squad this season. Maybe you can take Tierney out of it because he's not going to get much of a look in. But I thought a really, really impressive performance from the young man today. And then there's Mikel Moreno. I think he's getting better and better with every game. I don't think he's ever going to be one of those players that lights it up. He's going to be a massive fan favourite, do anything fancy. I think he's just a really solid player, good technically, strong, powerful runner, left-footed, and he's providing balance at midfield. Maybe a balance that we didn't have last season after Xhaka left. And I think maybe he's the man that Arsenal have found that can sort of replace Xhaka and be the player that maybe they thought Kai Havertz would be. Kai Havertz obviously has found his form further forward for us, but I think we just look so much stronger and better with him there. And I was really pleased for him to get that goal today. I think we underestimate how much of an impact pre-season has, particularly when you move to a new side on a player. And he, of course, missed that with that freakier broken shoulder that he got after a collision with Gabriel on I think it was his first training session. But he's just, you can see him getting up to speed now with the side, more comfortable in the side, more comfortable in his own skin. And I think he's going to have a really, really strong second half of the season. And I think if he and Gabriel Jesus can continue this form, I think Arsenal will be much, much better for it. Um, and it's really good to see that. I think Calafiori too will get better as the season goes on. We know how difficult it is to come in and be a defender in this system. He's slightly out of position at left back. True Gooner Josh, he watched a lot of Italian football. And he was saying he thinks he's more of a centre back than a left back. So there's going to be a sort of time for him to settle and develop over there. He was rusty today. He was, no question, he was our poorest performer, and he was rightly replaced. But good to see him get some minutes in there, and I'm not too worried about him. I think he will again grow in the second half of the season. But absolutely delighted for Moreno today. Really, really pleased with him. Um, just really quickly, I think the only downside today, a little bit Merton Odegaard, not quite at his best still, but still really important to his side. But was a yellow card to Urian Timber. He'll now miss the next game. Thomas Partey will have to play at right back, I suspect. Nobody wants that, but with Tomiyasu and White out, needs must. And the only plus side about it is that Timber will get an enforced rest, and I think that's going to be really important given he is having his first season back after that ACL. But overall, really good night. As I say, 9 games this month, I think it is. It's going to be a lot of tough games. Champions League games where we still need a win to at least one to see an automatic qualification. Cup games against Newcastle and Manchester United, as well as some tricky league games. I think Spurs and Villa due at the Emirates this month as well. But we can celebrate today a good 3 points. And we can go on to Brighton at the weekend. It'll be a tough game, no question. But the only good news about this tricky run of fixtures is that few teams coming to the Emirates this month will park the bus, and that's where we've struggled. So hopefully this will be the catalyst now for us to continue to kick on. And look, we're unbeaten in a long while now. Long may it continue. It's going to need to continue if we want to win the league. But as I've said all season, I don't think this title is over. I backed Arsenal at the start of the season. I still do. I still worry a little bit about how good Liverpool have looked. They've looked better than I think anyone thought they would. And just about Arsenal's luck. We saw it again today with illness ravaging the camp. But we're overriding it and we're still in contention. And all we can do is keep going and hoping for the best. Have a great day, guys. Let's celebrate the 3 points. Good start to the new year. And I will speak to you all soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.